scary stories. So, as a bit of a heads up, unfortunately I don't have any screenshots of our conversation. I'm non-binary, a bit important for later, and I won't be sharing names or what app or platform I was on for privacy reasons. We'll call our neckbeard Armsbeard. So a bit of background. I'm in an online community where we talk about one of our favorite Nintendo games, ARMS, a fighting game for the Nintendo Switch that came out 3 years ago. Characters with stretching arms would fight in boxing matches to claim victory. It's really fun and fast-paced. It's an underrated gem, and I'm kinda sad it didn't get more story elements, elaborate and share more backstory on the fighters, and had overall more content. Anyways, the short story. So it was just a normal day for me. I was working on an online art request for the said community when I suddenly got a notification that someone wanted to talk with me. It was Armsbeard. I didn't really want to talk to him at first because he mostly broke a few of the community rules, such as posting pictures of himself, selfies, which usually got taken down by moderators because of them being off topic. Anyways, he wanted to chat with me. I accepted the request because maybe he was interested in an art request or wanted to ask me something such as art advice. Hi, can I help you with anything?
No, just wanted to talk.
Oh, okay. Well, we were talking, LOL.
Okay, do you like ARMS?
Yes, I do like ARMS. I main Mechanica, Springman, Min, Lollipop, and Robin Girl.
You're really cool, and I like you.
I'm sorry, but I'm not entirely sure what you mean by that because I don't know the full context.
I love you, Boo.
Keep in mind that this is the only conversation I've ever had with this guy. I'm sorry, but I don't feel the same way. And please, don't call me Boo.
Okay. Do you like me?
So far, I think you're pretty cool, so yeah. I don't like being mean to people, so that's what I said. Judge me all you want.
So, we're boyfriend and girlfriend?
No way, sorry man. I don't like you like that. I'm not even a girl. And then he deleted all of his messages and left the conversation. Sorry the story was short and not that interesting. Last year I would pick up my sister from school since she didn't have a car and I wasn't going to college. She was 17, I was 19. Now my sister was your typical neckbeard bait. She's fairly attractive, long blonde hair, green eyes, and a great personality. She's a joy to be around and seems to like everyone and everything. She's watched quite a bit of anime and reads a lot of manga. Her friend group was normal, filled with people who fit her interest and personality. I've talked to quite a few of her friends, one of them being my own. They're all chill, really good people, which makes it so weird that the neckbeard was a part of it. Neckbeard wasn't the stereotypical neckbeard in terms of look. He was actually very attractive. He was lean, never smelled like BO, and wasn't greasy. He did, however, have a bit of a neckbeard growing, so by looks, you wouldn't expect it. He liked anime and all of that, but his personality was just god-awful. He was constantly putting others down, subtly, but it was still there. He was a major creep. It was freaky scary how good he was at manipulation and making it seem like he wasn't degrading his and Elle's friends, as well as Elle, even if he was. Once I met him, I disliked him. I have a lot of experience with people like him, so I knew pretty quickly what type of guy he was. I voiced these concerns to Elle, but she brushed them off, believing there was good in everyone. The first time I met him was when I went to pick up my sister from an after-school club. I forget which one, but Neckbeard was in it too. She asked me to give him a ride home as well, so I decided that since he was her boyfriend, it wouldn't be that bad. Oh ho ho, how wrong I was. Right off the bat, he'd noticed my shirt.
Is that a Green Day shirt? I love them.
Oh really? They were one of my favorite bands.
Yeah, I'd totally love to have a night with the singer, you know, alone. Come to think of it, you kinda look like him. What's your name?
Me, starting to become very uncomfortable. I'm Gerald.
I just love that name. It rolls off of the tongue nicely.
I started to get very uncomfortable now. Elle didn't seem to notice, so I didn't mention it, not wanting to ruin her day. Normally saying I looked like Billy Joe Armstrong would be an ordinary compliment I'd receive. I'd had the same hair as him and somewhat the same fashion sense, but the comment before the comparison rubbed me wrong, and the part about my name even more so. I stopped the conversation there, and we didn't say anything else to each other until I dropped him off.
Thanks for the ride. Maybe I'll see you later.
He gave me this awkward wink before walking away, and Elle moved to the front seat. I don't fucking like him. He's nice. Once you get to know him, really, Elle replied. She seemed set on that, so I didn't push the topic more. Over the next few months, I'd seen a lot more of Neckbeard. Enough to see that he was not the kind of guy I wanted around Elle, or anyone, really. He was perverted and degrading, and I absolutely despised him. But the encounter I'd like to talk about is what happened on Elle's birthday. She invited all of her friends, including Neckbeard. I'd gotten a hold of some alcohol through my friends where I live. It's illegal to drink underage with consent from parents, and I baked a cake. The whole house was decorated, and everything seemed to be going great. I stayed away from the group, letting Elle have her fun around with her friends, and drank by myself on the couch, making sure that nothing got too bad. I talked to one of mine and Elle's mutual friends. F hung out with me towards the middle, when I started to get drunk enough to act a bit out of character, but not enough to not remember what would happen. Dude, look. F motioned behind me. I looked where he suggested, only to see Neckbeard staring at me from where he sat with Elle and her friends. I looked away. You're all he talks about now, you know? He's got one hell of a crush on you. Oh, really? I've only had like 2 conversations with him. Yeah, it's crazy. It makes Elle hella weirded out. As if he could hear us talking about him, Neckbeard sat next to me on the couch, close enough to have our thighs touching. Hi guys. F. I think Elle is going to start a game of Uno. She wants you to join. F decided to join Elle, giving me a sympathetic look as he left me with Neckbeard. Good God, once we were alone, it started. His hands never left me. They were always on a part of me, whether it was my clothes or actual body parts. I never liked being touched much, so it creeped me out and put me on edge. At this point, though, I was too drunk to be able to do anything about it. Hey, Gerald. You seem to be close with F. Huh? Oh yeah, he's a good friend. His tone, from what I remember, was slightly off, as if he was angry at me. How have you been? You look good. It's been a while since I've seen your pretty face. I shifted away from him then, I remember not wanting to be anywhere near him as he said that. What made it worse was his hand was on my arm. I wanted to vomit. Thanks. Could you please not touch me?
Why? Are you gay?
That was a head spinner at the time. I wasn't out to a lot of people then. Only L, F, and some of my other friends. I asked how he knew that, and he said he saw L texting me about it once. I sighed. Aren't you dating L?
Yeah.
It's recent, and it's not like I'm not allowed to experiment. His hands moved to my thigh, and I attempted to shift away. But I drank a lot by that point, that I wasn't anywhere near strong enough to move his 6-foot body with my 5'6" one. He moved to press into me more and grabbed my chin, forcing me to kiss him as I tried to wiggle away. It didn't work. He shifted to move on top of me, his knees pushed against my crotch.
Just let it happen. I promise it'll feel fine.
I started to have a panic attack as memories of past years came back from his actions, and I started to sob. I all but screamed at him to get off, called L's name, and started to thrash around. He seemed to get scared by my actions and jumped off. I don't remember what happened after that, as I was in the middle of a panic attack, but I was told he left, and L and F helped me up the stairs to my room. This is the story of the time I dated a neckbeard mama's boy. Yeah, it's gonna get interesting. Let me introduce the characters. Me, littlest ghoul, LG, Neckbeard, Gravedigger, Neckbeard's mother, Nancy. I met Gravedigger back in November on Tinder. Obviously, we matched right away. Now, I'm not the prettiest ghoul in the world, so try not to pass judgment on less attractive people. Gravedigger wasn't your typical neckbeard. Yeah, he had a bit of a belly, but he was mostly healthy. He showered every day and used deodorant. The only reason he's classified as a neckbeard is because he has a pretty patchy beard on his lower jaw and neck. He wore a fedora to our first date. He also likes the same things your typical neckbeard would like. But besides all that, Gravedigger seemed like a lovely man. The story takes place back in January after I formally met his mother and stepdad. We went out for the afternoon for a date, going for coffee and seeing the ice sculptures. It was winter in Canada, so we tried to stay inside as much as we could. His mom had invited me over for dinner since the first time I met her was over the holidays, and she never got to sit down with me one-on-one. Nancy was sweet to me the entire dinner. She seemed to approve of me. I was worried because I'm an alternative girl with tattoos and facial piercings, and at the time, bright green hair, whereas she was very conservative. She didn't believe in sex before marriage. She had pictures of Jesus all over her house, and her kids were plain looking against their will. His sister wanted to dye her hair a funky color, but Nancy refused to allow it. His sister is an adult. Nancy asked me your typical questions when you are trying to get to know your child's boyfriend or girlfriend. Did you enjoy the holidays? What did you do? Did you see your family? Do you have siblings? Do you have a job or go to school? It was all fine and dandy. She asked me what I did for work. Now I'm open with people about where I work and what I do. But for a very good reason, this was off-putting for me. See, I work at an adult novelty store. We also do events and demonstrations at alternative bars and clubs. The store is more geared toward alternative lifestyles instead of your run-of-the-mill toys and accessories, but I sucked it up and told her the truth. I didn't want to lie to her, but I also didn't want to tell her the whole truth. I told her I worked at an alternative lifestyle store where we sold everything you'd need for a scene. She was shocked into silence. Gravedigger's sister was curious to learn more about my job, and if I took it seriously. I obviously told her I did. You have to when it comes to these things. It's all fun and games until someone gets non-consensually hurt. Now let me preface something before going ahead in the story. Gravedigger was a virgin. He was pushing 30 and has never messed with someone before. He's never even kissed a girl before me, but he was one ready boy. He had things he was into and wanted to try with me, but I told him to educate himself on those things before we tried them. So in short, Gravedigger was one kinky virgin. Now, I'm not saying being a virgin is bad. I personally don't believe in virginity, but each to their own. Now back to the story. Not long after that, I went home. Gravedigger and I talked the entire time it took me to get back home. I was on the bus. He said his mom was still shocked and quiet. When I got home, I had a shower and went to bed since it was late. Usually Gravedigger messaged me in the morning before I got up, but that morning I got nothing. I just thought he decided to sleep in, so I shot him a good morning message instead. I thought it was odd that for the entire day I didn't hear anything from him, until that evening Gravedigger messages me. I don't have the messages anymore, but the conversation went like this.
I have something to tell you, but you gotta promise me you won't be mad.
Okay.
No, promise me you won't be mad.
Okay, I promise I won't be mad. What is it?
Last night, when you left, my mom had more questions about you.
Alright, what does she want to know?
Well, you don't have to answer them.
What did she want to know?
She wanted to know about your sex life. Like, she asked how many partners you've had, if it's only been guys, or if you've been with girls too. She wanted to know about your likes and stuff.
I didn't know what to feel. I was furious and embarrassed all at the same time. This woman asked questions about me she didn't even need to know. I'm open and honest with the person I'm dating, but not their entire family. They don't need to know those things. But wait, it gets better. That's none of her business, you know.
Yeah, about that.
What? Did you...
I answered her questions.
Why? Why would you do that?
She wanted to know.
So you just told her? What did you even tell her?
I told her everything.
Yes, that's right. He told her everything about me and my private life. I felt so violated. I ended up calling him to chew him out about it. I guess his mom was there when I was doing that, and she took the phone away from him. She was downright cruel to me. She called me everything from a slut and a whore to a degenerate. She said I had poisoned her son into having sex before marriage and gotten him into that lifestyle. I practically begged Gravedigger to stand up to his mother, but he was quiet as his mother was tearing into me. Gravedigger said his mom had the right to know those things about me, but I'm guessing deep down he knows she doesn't, since he asked me not to be mad at him when he told me. Gravedigger even sided with his mom. He said he wasn't into the same things I was into until he met me. I told him where to find his balls in his mother's purse, and then I blocked them. Let's just say that wasn't the end of that relationship. So, I've been a cosplayer for 4 years, and actually attending conventions for around that time. I'm 17, a girl, and I've been told that I'm decently attractive. During this incident, I was dressed up as Katori from Love Live, so my skirt was admittedly a little too short. Cut to the actual con. I'd been there for a couple of hours, and after a mix-up with my badge registration, I was already on edge. Luckily, one of my friends had spotted me in the crowd and pulled me over to them and their group, and we decided to grab a coffee from the hotel cafe. After a few minutes, I noticed a guy staring at me from the corner of my eye. This is normal for cons. You'll always have people looking at you or asking for photos, but with him, I felt deeply unsettled. Trying to convince myself that it was just nerves from earlier, I turned away and rejoined the conversation with my friends. After a good 20 or so minutes, we were done and ready to head upstairs to the vendor's hall. I still had that unsettling feeling, so I glanced back behind me. He's still there. To give a visual, this guy is around 5'7" in height, maybe a little taller. He's stocky, Asian, and dressed in what I believe was a poorly executed rendition of Joseph Joestar, and he's just staring. Feeling even more nervous, I grabbed onto my friend's back and followed the group down the hall and up the escalator. As we got off, I looked back behind me again, and he's on one of the bottom stairs of the escalator, camera out and pointed towards me. I'm starting to get upset now. My friends haven't noticed him yet, and I didn't want to make a fuss quite yet, as I'm not the confrontational type, so I keep this to myself. We enter the vendor's hall. Great, I think to myself. We can definitely lose him here. Wrong. As we turn down the aisles of the crowded vendor's hall, I can still feel his eyes boring holes into my back whenever we turn. At this point, I'm less nervous and more angry that he's been making me uncomfortable. I decided it was time to tell my group that I have been seeing this guy since we were downstairs, and they all agreed to try to lose him. We decided to go to the second level of the con, where we could find panels, as well as the security booth. I move from the back of the group to the center, and I feel slightly relieved that he's not directly behind me. We run into another friend on that level, Max, a short but intimidating guy who's immediately pissed off about the creep who has been following me. At this point, we're all tired, so we decide to head down to the lobby and hang out until it's time to part ways. I haven't seen this guy in maybe 45 minutes or so, so I'm a little more relaxed. Downstairs, someone breaks out their cards and we play Uno, mostly dicking around. However, 15 minutes into the game, I see a flash out of my peripheral vision. Instinctively, I turn around and my heart drops into my stomach. It's the man again. My friends noticed too, and they all glare at him. Max jumps out of his seat and stands there, staring at the guy. Creep is still ignoring them, making eye contact with me. Camera still pointed. I get up too, and pull my friend Jane up with me. Enough is enough, I decided. Jane and I leave the rest of the group downstairs with the guy, and head up to the second floor security booth. I give my statement to the apathetic officer, who sort of brushes me off. He told me to just avoid him. Like I haven't been doing that all day. Jane is obviously pissed off at this too, and offers to drive me back to my hotel so I don't have to deal with this creep. I oblige, and the rest of the night went without incident. The second to last day of the con, I see the guy again. This time, instead of following me around and taking photos, he decides to approach me. I was with Max at the time, and he notices the guy walking up to us and tenses up. The guy reaches for one of my hands, and I take a step back, trying to avoid him as much as possible. He looks at me, mumbles something about wanting to do me, and walks away as Max and I head back for the security desk. Of course, they did nothing. I ended up catching the con plague that night anyways, and leaving early on the last day. So I don't know what happened to the guy, or the photos he took of me. I don't even want to think about it. What bothers me the most is how calm this guy was. He was like he had no emotion for this whatsoever. Maybe he had done this before. I've had my fair share of other convention creeps, but this one stands out, as it was so recent, and how he kept following me around for what seemed like forever. I have another convention coming up in January, and I'll be pissed as hell if I see him again. So, convention creep, let's not meet again.